What was the last topic idea that we spoke last week? Yes? I'm sorry? Backward checkmate. And after it, that was our first topic that we discussed quite a lot. And after it, we discussed another topic that we said much larger one that we will continue quite a lot today. It was checkmate ideas, attacking ideas to the king that already castled. How to attack a castled king, right? We know basically where are the weak squares and the weak spots. How to attack such a castle king. We have seen 2 or 3 positions, and today we're going to see many more. So, why this to play here? But do you see everything, Adi? So f6. What? So, and you are threatening queen take g7 checkmate, right?
Yeah.
What does black have a way to stop the checkmate? Let's just move Tiny from the way because you know Ben is doing all these special effects over there. G6. Okay, perfect. G6. So where is the checkmate gone? Do you still have a checkmate here?
Yep.
How? That's exactly perfect. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Very good. So this was attacking this square that cannot be defended. There are no pieces around that can defend the square. And after the pawn moves to g6, this square is still vulnerable. For example, if this was the position after f6, well, first of all, black can capture. But even if he wouldn't capture, he can defend this square here, right? How can he defend the square here? By playing?
Rook g8.
Exactly, rook g8. Exactly. So this was one checkmate on g7. Okay, now let's look at a bit more complicated position. Actually, maybe much more complicated. How does white play here? Anyone else has ideas? I will let Charlie answer, but I want to see other thinking. How to attack black king? Black looks okay, he's up a pawn, but not many pieces around this king. And especially the key attacking piece, the way I see it, is this bishop. Very, very scary what's happening into black on this side. But how to do it? Charlie, do you want to come and show us?
Yeah.
All right. Very good. It is interesting because I've seen you and Adi there. When I forgot to put the pawn, you immediately give it to me. Immediately you had the answer. And then when I put the pawn, I could see like taking a step back. And I'm thinking, if there was no pawn, they immediately had the answer. Then how long will it take them to think about taking the pawn, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly the logic. It was kind of funny. Here, everyone sees checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. Okay, so we give the queen. He's going to take your queen, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
And then? Now, does black have any real efficient way to stop checkmate over here?
No.
So that's why you won the game. Very good. So that's one other checkmate pattern that we have. Excellent job. To the seat. Okay. One other position. This one is really, really tricky. So I suggest you to think about this one. This is the position, and it is white to play. It's the same version as the one before, same idea, but more difficult. Because we have to be careful here. White is to play. Name?
Sean.
Sean. Just be careful, this is tricky. You want to take, okay. Now, Sean, if black will take with his pawn, the b6 pawn, what will you play?
I would take this up to
Queen a7 checkmate or queen a8 checkmate, right? Let's just show. Okay, this is correct. And if you will take with this pawn, you will play queen take a7 checkmate. Now let's think together. This is something extremely important. I've seen it bazillion time would be understatement. We take something, we capture something, and we are thinking the opponent has to take what we just took. He has to react in exactly the same area and territory. But how many squares other than b6 are on the chessboard? 63 squares are left in addition to this one. Black can play in many other areas here. What would you play with black? You know now, we know, that capturing back either way is going to result in checkmate for black. Excellent. And white is pretty much threatening checkmate. So black has to play something extremely, extremely forced to save himself. Yes? What would black play?
The queen to G2.
G2, but G2 it will be captured. And the queen can capture the pawn, but the king will move. But black has a very, very strong way to play here. That's up to you. Yes?
Does the pawn go to H2?
Pawn captures H2, right?
Yeah.
Pawn captures H2. What is the only move left for white to play?
Move the king over to F1.
F1? You mean? Not F1, right? He cannot move to F1. He can only move to
H1.
H1. And then very good move for black. Queen takes bishop, checkmate. So white wants to checkmate, but before he could play his move, black played forcing move. We spoke about forcing moves. Forcing moves that are, you don't have enough time to, if it's check, you don't have enough time, or moves that you have to react to. White didn't get half a move to capture. He had to move his king and then checkmate. So the idea suggested by Sean is correct. It's correct to play over there. But the way of doing it, that's a tricky one. Let's put a pawn. The way of doing it there, that's a bit less easy. So do we have an idea for white how we can get exactly what we wanted before? I want to see more hands. I will wait a minute.
H takes G3.
H takes G3 is okay, but it's actually going to lose the game. I will just show you how. It's okay not getting checkmated, but black will give check. White will move his king. And actually black here has an excellent move to play. Which one of you going to tell me? Yes?
H1.
And that's okay. We have to learn. And it's not in one day, and it's not in one class or 2 or 10, or it's in a long time to see our opponent moves. Always. I play a move, comes with the same line. No dots, no commas, nothing. I play a move, what my opponent is going to play. Same one, it's same word. I play what my opponent is going to play. I play queen h1, what white going to play? White going to capture. No queen h1. Always, I play a move, what's my opponent going to play? So no queen h1. But there is a very good move for black, which is tiny tricky to see, but still a good move for black. Yes?
Queen G1.
And what would white play after queen g1? Can white take your queen?
Yeah.
Okay? Yes? You wanted to say? Nothing. Okay. But which decent move here? Which checks black has? He has this check but will be captured. He has this check but will be captured. But he has one. Yes, Adi.
Queen goes to H3.
Yeah, but then the king can move or something. We are using all the time the same piece. Yes?
So,
How about, we play on this side. So we are only thinking about the queen, 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 queen. But there are other squares on the board. How about this little not bad move? Check. Attacking the queen and check. And who is protecting this bishop? So we're going to win a knight for a queen, sorry, a bishop for the queen. Not a really bad one.
But the queen could just take the bishop.
But it's protected. That's what we say, but it is protected. If it's not, we can never play that. Okay, so we understand that take on g3 avoids being checkmated, but actually going to cost a lot of material for white. So one last shot. I know this is a difficult one. We want to take and open the A file, right? But what is our problem? We don't have time. Because if we're going to take on B6, do you remember what black is going to play? He has a very good move after pawn take B6. It's going to capture on H2. And then take the bishop. What happens if white first say, I cannot give my opponent any time. I will play this move. What does black have to play after this move? He has to take. And then we're going to play this move. Double check. I could hear you. Double check, which means we cannot capture anything or block. It means the king has to move somewhere. Where can the king move? Only one square. Yes, Griffin?
B8.
B8, only one square. And now, what is white going to play? Yes, Charlie?
Rook A8.
Exactly. So, was this extremely forcing? It was. Black was at any point black had more than one move to play. Queen take A7, black had to take on A7. We took on B6, black had to move to B8. So it was only way. So white had, if we are analyzing it, we will say white has a force checkmate by taking. And why was it important again to force the checkmate? Because not to allow black to get to play his own moves. All right. Let's see something a bit different. White is to play here. White has very strong attack either way. I mean, white has a great position. It looks like. Right? There is an open file against black king, and many other pieces are aiming there. But white has one way to win the game pretty much immediately. Actually checkmate very, 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 very fast. Yes?
Queen B3.
If Queen B3 is actually okay. It's attacking this pawn, but the pawn might be able to move, right? Yeah. It's okay. You know what? Just to make it tiny bit, let me put this pawn here. So now Queen B3, that was okay. I wanted to see if people will suggest things on the B file or immediately the idea that I wanted. Let's suggest this move. So now Queen B3 not that important.
Queen E4.
Queen E4. And which square you are attacking?
B7.
And how can black defend B7?
There's no way.
Can the C pawn move?
Yeah.
So black can play C6 and stop? Yes?
Yeah.
No? Why no? Why yes? Why no?
Because that pawn is pinned.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. Very good. So Queen E4, threatening this pawn, which is basically the same as G7, the B7 pawn when, or square when the king is there. And C6, moving the pawn is impossible because of. So we always have to look into this direction of the king and where our pieces are aiming. Because those squares are the squares that a king that castled will be most vulnerable. Okay. White is to play in this position. Was this the move that you wanted to suggest, Queen H5?
H5, Queen H5.
What you wanted to suggest?
Yeah, that is a good move.
But what you wanted to suggest?
Oh, my suggestion was Queen to Queen X, B5, and then attacks the rook and the queen, and the rook is protected.
We have a pawn there, right? That was not so pretty. You might have won a pawn, right? But there's a pawn there. You should see how the opponent want to capture your pieces, right? Okay. So now let's see. Sean, what's your idea with Queen H5?
If the queen goes to H5, and then
What are you threatening?
the pawn on H7 for checkmate.
But what if he will just then play H6, defend the pawn? So you play this move, and you'll play H6, defend the pawn. Yes?
Well, the queen can just take the pawn at F7.
So the queen is attacking not the pawn on H7, but the pawns on H7 and F7. That's why this move is so strong. Exactly. Exactly. Because if this pawn was defended, let's say that black queen was here. Let's say black queen was here. Then okay, this move, nothing so exciting. Black will play H6 and he's quite happy, right? Now, the thing is exactly what was said, exactly, that H7 and F7 are being under attack. Yes?
When the queen was on e2, I wanted to say queen c2.
But queen c2, again, it would be just one threat. You are threatening checkmate here, right? You tell me, how can black stop that checkmate?
Moving his bishop on f8.
No, but I don't want you to take on h7. Yeah, I will not be checkmated, but why to allow queen take h7? Do you want to allow the pawn to be taken at all? Not really. So?
You can just, if you move to C2 with your queen. If you move to C2 with the queen, they can just push their g-pawn.
Yeah, g6. Like principally, if the opponent is threatening to take on h7, checkmate, I'm not saying, okay, I will let him do what he wants, but it will not be a checkmate. Haha. No, I will say, I don't want you to take there at all, right? I don't want you to make the first progress at all. That's going to be the point. Okay, so queen h5 is attacking both of those. There is no way to defend. Now a question. Let's say that this was the position. I just want to see if you can show me also a very good defense. Let's say this was the position. And white played this move. Can you show me a good defense here? Good defense here. Yes, Charlie?
Queen g6.
Exactly. It's the only move that actually defends. Bless you. It's the only move that actually defends the two pawns. Very good. That's why in the puzzle the pawn had to be on e6, not allowing this defense. Okay, let's do actually one more of those. Okay, white is to play here. White is down material. My question to you is, how can white play here? Sorry.
Rook takes h7.
Okay, so you want to break through the opponent defenses exactly this way, right? Okay. Can you tell me what is exactly your threat here? Let's say black plays rook take pawn. What is your threat?
If black plays that, then I would say rook g7 check,
King to h8.
and then I would say queen h4 checkmate, queen h4, queen h3, or queen h2 checkmate.
Not queen h3 because of this.
Oh.
But queen h4, queen absolutely perfect. That was very, 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 very nice. So the threat is rook to g7 and then queen h4. Let's say black plays this. Very good. What now?
Then
There are several ways to checkmate. Just tell me one.
one would be queen h4.
Very good. And just followed by rook h8 checkmate, right? Very good. And what happens if black king take? So by the way, so here we see checkmate on h8 that we have seen before. And if he takes, we are going back to similar patterns that we have seen.
I would play queen h4 check,
Okay. King g8 only move.
queen h6.
And checkmate.
Yeah.
The only way actually to, I think, play tiny bit longer is actually this move. Well, the idea is that if you give check, the king goes, the queen will block. But here, what is this is still checkmate. How does white checkmate here?
Queen h4.
Exactly, and after queen h5, it's just a matter of capturing with the rook. Capture, and now?
So queen g5 check.
Very good. Very, very good. So there were some possibilities, all of them kind of related to either checkmate on g7 that we had seen before, checkmate on h8. In a real chess at high level, I wish it was so simple that it's checkmate in one move. Many times you have to work 5, 6, 7, 8 moves just to calculate ahead and get into a position that you have this. But that was excellent. Okay, speaking about calculation, how about we look at some positions that the king is actually already somewhat out of defenses. Not castle. The king is already out of defense, but we have to somehow find a way to attack it. Okay, how would we play here with white? Yes?
Maybe you can do white f3.
Which move, sorry?
White f3.
Which piece to f3?
The pawn.
But why would the pawn be helping you? Black will start checking you. Remember, you don't have time in this position. It's quite similar to some positions. White is down a rook. If you will play move saying, okay, I want first to defend, black will go check and then bring his rook to attack. Actually, this will be checkmate very, very quickly. If king h1, queen h2 checkmate, and if you go here, the rook will come down, the king will go here, and then queen e1 checkmate. White doesn't have the luxury of playing any moves. Plus, he doesn't even want to. White is down so much material here. Yes?
Queen h5.
Queen h5. Okay, this is actually very, very good puzzle in the way of thinking. If queen h5, what happens if black goes to f6?
Queen g6.
Okay. And now black will go to e7, for example. You can actually maybe give another check, and maybe it's tiny. Probably, maybe it's a draw, because actually it's quite funny that the king cannot escape anywhere. It's quite amazing. And actually here it's black is losing. It's getting checkmated in the center of the board. So maybe this would be a draw actually. But I want I want us to take something from this puzzle and think logically. 1 second. Something that I think is really important. When we are looking at such positions, especially when we are attacking a king and already white is down a lot of material, the important thing is to make effort to look at how we can play something and the opponent has minimum possibilities to reply. Minimum possibilities. If you play queen f5, how many possibilities does black have? 2. King f4, actually this will be checkmate in 1, and king f6. Yes? Queen f5. How many possibilities black has now? 1. So it's much more forced, and it's even 1 to the corner. It's 1 to the edge. So that's much, much easier. It's no guarantee that it is better, but it's the right way to start. I always want to start with positions that my opponent has less possibilities, because it's easier for me to predict, right? Do you want to look at a position that your opponent has 5 possibilities or a position that he has 1? It's easier, right? He will play this, I'll play this, he'll play this, we'll play that. I will get a clear idea where the position is. So black has 1 move. And then? That's it. That was the idea of kicking him to the side of the board. And it was an excellent way in thinking. Surprisingly enough, I thought that queen h5 at the beginning is losing, but the king cannot really escape. So it's probably a draw. But reducing the possibilities of the black king is the first way that we want to start looking at this position. The king has to go to the edge, and then it is a checkmate. Okay. Sometimes, some positions are actually quite important in the sense of they're just principal ones that we will see or are seeing a lot in just many basic patterns. For example, let's look at an important position. White has pieces that are aiming at black, right? I'm making it a tiny bit more difficult than what I originally thought. Does black have many pieces in this square? This square around this king. Does he have many pieces, many defenders over there? To be precise, he has 1 rook, only 1 piece. And even this rook is not really a great defender. In those positions, this is tiny bit advanced for you, so I'll play that move. White has this very basic capture, but this is not what I want to show you. White has this very basic capture. Black will capture back. White plays check. And this is our starting position. This is our important position. Knight g5. What is white threatening here? Yes?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Where?
On h7.
Checkmate on h7. Do you see how black can stop it? Yes?
Well, I can see how white can get it. Black can stop it by
Playing 1 move, and 1 move only pretty much, which is? Yes?
Rook e8.
Now it is perfectly correct, right? Remember 15 minutes ago or something like that, you suggested that we didn't like it because we could have prevented at all the queen coming here. Now we cannot prevent the queen coming here, so. And here is a very basic and important pattern. How should white continue here? It is somewhat combination of attacking the king in a false way, attacking the king after he castled, some kind of combination of everything. White has a very, yes, you want to tell me?
Queen takes f7.
Queen takes f7. And after king to h8, king to h8. This I will let you all think for a few minutes. Let's see if we can get it up until a checkmate. There is a forced checkmate here. I'm not saying it's easy, it's few moves, that's why you will get 1-2 more minutes. Do you see everything up until checkmate, you think?
No.
No.
We'll see a few checks.
Okay, so which checks do you see? Why don't you come to the board and play that? And we'll see. You play white, you play black, you're the boss now.
So the queen is on F7.
The queen captures F7. Okay, I will help you. You will tell me what to play and I'll play it. Okay, the king has to move here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we agree. Now what?
Queen H5.
Queen back to H5 check. I also agree. King only move here. Now what?
Queen H7.
Queen H7. I also agree. Now what?
Now I don't.
Oh, you're almost there. Almost there.
H8.
Queen H8. Now what? One move.
King E7.
And now what?
Queen takes G7.
And now what?
Nothing.
It's checkmate. Very good. So, what was the important idea in this position? It was very, very pretty that white has this idea. Instead of queen h7 immediately, we can make this position exactly the way we seen, only with out this pawn. How? We take, he goes here, we come back, and by removing this pawn, what happens is after check, check, there is no pawn on f7. This is why studying those patterns when you're all that age is going to be something important, right? So when we get older, like some of us here, those are already deep, deep, deep inside. Okay, so we were looking at quite enough position of attacking a king that is castled, tiny bit attacking the king in the center, and we will continue with, we touched tiny bit the idea of forcing moves. Remember when there was some position that white was about to checkmate here and black was about to checkmate here, and we needed to play fast. And that will be our topic for next week.